Now, part of your discussion board grade is responding to other students. I don't want you just writing these and then no one ever sees them. So part of your grade is looking at the posts that other students in the course have made and responding to them, whether you agree, whether you disagree. And me, as the instructor, I'm looking for good responses. But what is a good response? So following up from the previous video, here as a student, I'm looking, oh, someone posted about the benefits of bird feeding. So I'm gonna open it and I'm like, so it's good. I can go to this website, read more about it. But me personally, I actually don't think it is a good thing. I talked about something else in my own post, but reading this one, I'm like, actually, I think bird feeding isn't good for birds, and I want to respond with that. So the first thing I want to say, maybe I say, I don't agree. I think it's bad. You're dumb for thinking this. All right, so I'm going to do this as an example of not a quality post. One, you should never call anyone dumb. Everyone has their own opinions. That's okay. Some people might formulate responses better than others. That's okay. You can choose to disagree. You can have a different opinion. That's okay. You could post something similar to this, and that would be all right. You just wouldn't get any points for it. So you're being graded on your quality posts. You need 3 or 4 depending on the week. What I'm looking for in a quality post is your stance on the issue, you're providing new information, and then you're also providing a source of that information. It's not, well, my grandma said this or my boyfriend said this. It is actual information that you found. So again, you could say something like this, except if you were to be negative or call someone names, I would penalize you for that. But if you were just going to say, I don't agree, I think it's bad, you don't get a penalty. However, it doesn't count as one of your quality posts. So if you're like, oh, I really want to say something real quick on this just because I read it and I'm interested, but I've already done 4 posts and I don't want to do all that work, you don't have to. Okay. So let me show an example of a quality post, one that you would actually get points for. So I'm going to say, I'm going to start out very similar. So I don't agree. I think feeding wild birds is bad. And you're like, oh, well, I've always thought that, but now I need some evidence to go with that. So I did a search on, bird feeding, and I found Audubon's website. Audubon, which you could actually learn this in the About Us, this is a scientific organization all about birds. It's been around for about 150 years at this point, and they support actual scientific research. I found this article, and it's a review of a scientific study. And it talks about how, birds, although it's great for humans to get this interaction, it actually brings a lot of birds together in a dense space. All these birds feeding on a feeder, where in the wild, they usually don't do that. Well, by bringing them really, really close together, they're actually more likely to spread viruses, bacteria, and parasites between each other, which wouldn't happen if we weren't feeding them. And the article talks about intentional feeding, like bird feeders, or loose feeding, or unintentional, so like a landfill or something. So that's what I talk about here. So I say, feeding brings birds closer together and spreads more diseases. And be sure to spell check diseases. So you look, okay, so who wrote this? Jennifer Huizen. So I'm going to, cite this as I did before. The year, it was 2015. This is called To Feed or Not to Feed. 2015, To Feed or Not to Feed. This is on Audubon. And let me insert the website. Again, I'm making a formal citation just because I personally am in the habit of it. Don't post just links. Post as much information about that link as you can. I'll say the author is, let's see, oh, this one happens to link, so maybe we can learn a little bit more about her. Oh, this just shows other articles, but we know that she writes often for Audubon, so we'll just write, she writes for Audubon. The author, writes for Audubon regularly, and Audubon is an association that works with scientists with birds. And that's it. That's all you have to do for a quality post. So don't see it as too overwhelming. This only took me maybe 5-10 minutes between finding my source and writing about it. I would encourage you to write more than I did. I kind of truncated it for the purpose of talking with you. But what you wrote here, this would earn you full points. But I actually want you guys to discuss. I want you to get into it and learn new things. So I encourage you to write more, but this would be what I'm looking for a quality post.